We're live. It's Tuesday. Kind of feels like a Monday. Guess I should press go live on this one too. Yep. We're live everywhere. Oh, yes, it's good to be back in the studio. Welcome to Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that answers your traffic and police questions. My name is Sean Shapiro, police officer with the Toronto Police Service Traffic Safety Programs Unit, which is an office inside of Traffic Services, which is a citywide unit for the Toronto Police Service. Wow, that was a lot. It's the same a lot every time, but it was a lot today. Hope you had a great weekend, a long weekend. I had a fantastic time. And that said, this is a short week now. That kind of makes me sad. But I hope you had a fun time. I hope you had a safe time. Lots of wild stuff happening in the city of Toronto over the weekend. We had the Caribbean Festival, which apparently went very, very well. I was not there for it, but I've seen lots of photos, lots of smiling faces, lots of dancing going on. It's awesome. I used to go down every year. And now I entertain my children so my wife can rest. Actually, until I pass out, right? Because naps on the couch are a thing. I don't know. I assume it's for everybody. Let's see here. We have a Dave in the building. We have a JD in the building. We have a Sergeant Kulik in the building. Who's coming to help? Is anyone? Let me see here 1 second here. We have. See what's happening here. Going to send a little message, but we are going to be live. No, we are live. Yes, we are live, and I have a new logo set. Everything's going a little slow. I click a button. There's a little bit of a delay. We are currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course, X, formerly known as Twitter. I am thoroughly not used to calling it X. And I like the logo. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. If you are on X, formerly known as Twitter, you can see us, but we can't see you. We can't actually get your messages. So if you would like to interact with us and ask us questions, well, we would like that very much. But it requires you to actually come over to YouTube or another platform. If you'd like to come over to YouTube, well, jump over to trafficcop.ca, and there you get links to everything. Links to, did you put, I don't know, I think I have links to today's show. I think I was that forward thinking. Let me see if I messed it up or not. See, it was days ago. Usually it's the night before. This was days ago that I set this up. No, it still has the Friday show. Go to youtube.trafficcop.ca and it'll take you to our page, which will show you the current link. Let me take the Friday show off. Let me delete that. Take it off. Okay. Tomorrow will be better. I'll be more prepared. Let's see. Hello, safety people. We got messages coming in on TikTok. And of course, we have JD, the magical producer, in the background who is making your message possible to be seen everywhere else. It's Elvin. What is the full username? Elvin Seton says, the best part of waking up is Shapiro on TikTok. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that I'm part of your morning routine. Let's see here. No, JD, no worries. And what do we got here? We got some chat messages in the YouTube. Michael says, greetings. I bought a cheeseburger, poutine, and pop yesterday that totally did not taste worth $28. Where was that? I want to know. I don't want to have one since you've already suggested it's not worth the money, but I am curious where one would get a cheeseburger poutine. I'm back on track. Today's day 2 of carb-free living, and I look forward to shrinking on screen for you because I'm just tired. You know what? I was on a health kick. I was eating right about a year ago, and then I stopped, and I've just been enjoying, and maybe a little too much, just little things like bread that apparently don't work well for me. So I'm back on that kick and eating a cleaner diet, not on a diet, but eating a cleaner diet in general. So you'll be on the journey with me. You can tell me if I'm looking like it's working. All right. Kayla Draconis says, greetings and salutations from Priceville, Ontario. I'm gonna have to googly goo that because I don't know where Priceville is. We have, what is this? We have, did that click? No, that click didn't work. Okay, Stephen Bell says, hi, good morning. How was your weekend? My weekend was fantastic. It was longer than normal, and that's good. And then this weekend is going to be longer than normal too, because I'm not going to be here on Friday, because I'm going on a little trip to celebrate a birthday with some family. So, and a happy birthday to my nephew Milo, who may or may not be watching right now, but it is his birthday, and he's the only nephew named Milo that I have. So I wish him a very happy birthday. Let's see here. We have Kayla Draconis says the X logo looks like the logo often used with X Windows. Is that? I can't remember that. Although it is reminiscent of some old school computer-y stuff. Old school stuff. Let's see. Greeting. Okay, we got that. Oh. The Grinch says, good morning, watching my favorite morning show, drinking my coffee. Are we officially a morning show? I'm assuming you're talking about this show. Are we officially a morning show? Oh, we got questions here. I got this one out of sequence. We'll put it back in the cubby hole for later. Okay. Oh, Michael says that the breakfast or the cheeseburger poutine was from Holy Chuck at Yorkdale Mall. I can't say that I've been there. Or tried that. I've been to Yorkdale. I haven't. And don't call it a mall. They get very upset. It's a shopping center. Very important to acknowledge the shopping center versus mall. Don't let them hear you. I made that mistake once. I used to be very involved with them because I used to run the before we centralized Cops for Cancer. I was the head of that for that area, and then we did centralize it, and I stayed on and very involved with Cops for Cancer for many years. Things we're going to talk about in just a second to give you an idea as I'm just getting through the hellos. We're going to talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team, tell you where they are today. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about because this is a show that's all about you answering your traffic and police questions. But we're going to also delve into some Ford safe driving skills for life. And then we're going to talk about employment. And all through that, we're going to continue right through to 11 o'clock or maybe even a little longer. Okay. Oh. Interesting. We got some comments here. All right, I think we can jump into. We'll come back to you and to comments and stuff and things in a second. Let me change my graphic over, and I am going to quickly discuss Vision Zero Enforcement Team. So, if you didn't already know that Vision Zero was a thing, and that it's so much of a thing that we created an enforcement team to support the concept. So, what is Vision Zero? Well, it's a concept that we can reduce the number of serious injuries and deaths on our roads to zero by doing a number of things, like, well, changing the design of roads for one. But that's not a police function. That's very much a city and engineering function. So what do we do as police? Well, we do education and enforcement. That's our wheelhouse. So I'm very much on the education side of it because I don't go on the road and I don't do the enforcement, but my friends in the Vision Zero Enforcement Team do. So what does it mean? They give tickets. Yeah, they give tickets, but they focus on the big four. That is speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving, because those are the specific behaviors that we know that lead to serious injury and death on the roads, period. And if they're out there focusing on that, well, they have a serious chance of reducing risk to everybody else on the road because they're going to take those bad drivers, hold them accountable, and then maybe they'll change their opinions, and they're not just their opinions, but their driving behavior. So where are they today? 23 Division and 43 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, Guildwood, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. It's kind of important to throw that tagline in there. They deserve to be safe because the people who are choosing to put them at risk don't deserve the right to go fast, don't deserve the right to drive aggressively, don't deserve the right to be distracted while they're driving. Those are things they're choosing to do very selfishly. Okay. I will move on. But if you've got questions about Vision Zero, let me know. All right. Boom, boom, boom. We've got questions about parking. We've got questions about, interesting, driving school. Okay, we got a question here. We've got, I'm going through and I'm trying to organize a list of things to talk about. And that is because questions come in all the time, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. and Dr. Nick, who may or may not be watching right now, hey zombie, may or may not be, gets out of sorts if we're not in order. So I'm going to try to keep it in order. Oh, X Windows is GUI from Unix. Okay, cool. I knew there was something. And Larissa has some questions. All right, let's scroll back. I got 8 questions in the queue. We can start there. So the first one comes in from Calm Down on TikTok, and the question is it true that lots of traffic charges are getting dropped because courts are overwhelmed? Depending on where you are, that is true. The most serious ones, they are not, from my understanding, just throwing out or dropping, but the ones that have been excessively long waiting in queue, many of them have been. So don't get excited, because it may not be you or may not be the people that you know who are seeing the benefits of this. But the truth is that they've really had a backlog, and if they're too old, well, then they're not taking care of things in a timely fashion, and they're required to by law. There were some extensions made, so what used to be a 1 year expectation of having your trial or your day in court was extended to 2 years for COVID, and if it's gone beyond that, chances are they're not going to proceed. That is not a guarantee, but that is what we've been seeing. Okay. So hopefully that helps. If it does help, maybe you got the lesson. If you got a ticket and it happens to get withdrawn, maybe you get the lesson without the impact of the consequence. You get all the feels of going through it without having the long-term effects. Larissa says, is it bad that I don't want to go to driver's ed? I'm learning how to drive with my dad, and I'm doing well so far. Is it bad that you don't want to? It's not bad. I don't think it's the best choice. Whatever the reasons or motivations of wanting to be with dad versus school, it could be financial, it could be comfort. But the problem is this: your dad may be a very nice person, may even be a very good driver, but your dad is not a professional driving instructor unless he is. And he's going to teach you what he knows, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And he's also not a trainer, per se, in that field, unless he is. But I'm assuming he's not. So you may not be getting a full education. You may not be getting the benefits. Now, there's other reasons to take driver's ed. You reduce an approved course gets you a reduction in the amount of time you must wait to get your G2. So if you have your G1 right now, you have to wait 12 months, but you only have to wait 8 months if you get an approved course. Now, when you get your G2 and you're going to be a licensed driver, you're going to be on the insurance, having graduated from a driving education course gives you a reduction in your insurance rates. And and the reason it does that, it gives you the consideration of a period of time of experience, which you would not have if you do it on your own. So there are benefits to doing it, and really the real benefit is making you a safer driver. Dad might get you through the test, but are you going to get the skills to become a safer driver? Do you know what? This is a great segue. And Larissa, I want to give you a suggestion. If you're in the Greater Toronto area and you're available August 19th or 20th, either in the AM or the PM, let me throw this graphic on the screen, and then we'll talk about this magical thing, which is free, and it's some driver training, Ford skills for life. Sorry, Ford driving skills for life. It's a word. I missed it in the first reading. Might have been important. Ford driving skills for life is a 4.5 hour period of time where you get free instruction from very specialized instructors. And not only will they be from Ford for driving, but there's going to be police officers there talking about impaired driving and distracted driving, and I will be there. So of course it's going to be amazing. But we will be there all day for both days, and you can register for free. And where would you do that? Well, if you go to trafficcop.ca, there's a link that says sign up for Ford driving skills for life. Yeah. So I would suggest that regardless of what your long-term plans are for taking the big course with a young drivers or an alternate education or driving education center, consider coming down and getting some free driving education, because the stuff you just can't get it without paying. There's no free course anywhere. This is a free course, so I guess there is a free course somewhere. But this is only August 19th and 20th. It's being held. Well, let me pull up the screen. Let me put up the screen. Here we go. So a little more information. This is very quick, so don't go anywhere for anyone who doesn't care about this, but you should care about this because it's awesome. But here we go. So you're going to be driving a Mustang, at least for part of it. There's a vehicle handling course. You're going to learn about hazard recognition, and you can read on screen. I don't need to read it for you. I'll just read the headings: vehicle handling, speed management, space management. There's also sections of the course that specifically deal with impaired driving and distracted driving, which I think is really cool. If you go to their YouTube page, and I'll put a link for it if I haven't already done it, you can see what they're doing. You put on beer goggles. These are goggles that simulate impairment. And you can, when you do this, you can actually drive the car while wearing them, and it shows how it affects your vision, which is something that, we don't want you to get drunk and drive. That would be illegal, regardless of whether you're on a track or not. This allows you to see what it's like to be impaired, and while sober, and can make decisions based on that experience. So when you're drunk or you're impaired, you're making poor decisions in the first place. If you're doing it in these confined scenarios, you're not drunk, but you're getting the benefits of understanding just how dangerous it is in a safe environment. Okay. Tomorrow after the show, I've got an instructor from Ford coming down to talk about this. So we'll have a bonus episode. We're going to film record an episode of TPS Traffic Jam, and then we'll put it up. And if we may even go live, we'll see how it goes. When is this available? I mentioned it earlier. There's 2 sessions on Saturday, 2 sessions on Sunday. There's currently spots available for all of them, although they are starting to fill up. So if you are interested, go to trafficcop.ca and sign up. You can also go to drivingskillsforlife.ca, and there is a link to allow you to go and sign up. So however you want to get there, sign up. It's free. Okay, moving on. Can you explain the no standing sign? It's a sign that says no standing. Do you mean what can you do with a no standing sign? Well, the idea is that you can't stop there. I think for no standing, it's for any reason. No parking, you can do immediate pickup and drop off or unloading. Let me see, because we have these questions, and I don't get into the traffic stuff, or the parking stuff, I should say. I really get into the traffic stuff. What does no parking mean? No standing mean in Toronto? Because it does change jurisdiction to jurisdiction. No standing means you can receive and discharge passengers. Well, no stopping. This is right on parking regulations, City of Toronto. No standing is motorists are only permitted to receive and discharge passengers. So you can stop and someone can quickly get in there, get out, which is interesting because isn't that like standing? No stopping means motorists are generally not permitted to stop for any reason except to avoid conflict with traffic or in compliance with the directions of a constable or other police officer or a traffic control sign or signal. So a no stopping zone. Oh, okay. So no standing is you can drop off passengers, pick up passengers. No stopping is no stopping other than for red lights in the direction of a police officer. Well, that makes sense. And I would normally get those a little confused. So it's reasonable that you're asking about that. So hopefully that answers your question and we can move on with life. All right. What do we got here? We talked about this already. If you take driving school, do you get a reduction in your insurance rates? That's entirely up to the insurance provider, but it's generally gives you a year of experience under your belt, like an additional year if you take the course. Okay. I don't know why YouTube is saying you're now live, because we're live. Okay. Here's a question. What is this? Oh. Okay. This is a Kale asking a question. Here's a question. Person on phone in parking lot hits something. What do they win? What do they get charged with? Oddly enough, they don't. See, if you're in a parking lot, if you're on private property, there's no charge for hitting something. There's no collision. We don't charge people for collisions on private property because the vast majority of charges don't apply on private property. You have to be on the highway. You have to be on any road in the province of Ontario, which is different in different provinces, right? Every province has their own traffic act or traffic safety act. Ours doesn't include private property unless you're stunt driving. Now, if you're on the phone and you're doing a burnout and you hit something, we'll get you for stunt driving. That's different. And this is good to know. Larissa likes Mustangs. So does that mean Larissa is coming to the course? Are you in the GTA? Is this a possibility? Did we just get another registrant? We're looking to register. We want to fill the spots. We'd love for the spots to be full. And you don't have to be a brand new driver. It's intended for new drivers, but if you can, truth is, anyone can benefit from driving instruction. Everyone can get a refresher. Absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, we've got a careless driving charge. They want to know if they can still drive. We'll talk about that in a second. What's the difference between radar detector and radar jammers? We're going to talk about that. Oh, okay. Kayla's question was, what if it's a passenger? So this is a follow-up to the question about hitting something. So, yeah, there's no charge. I mean, if they intentionally tried to do it, that could be dangerous driving. Could be, assault with a weapon being a car, or there's probably another charge wording for it, but that's what's coming out of my mouth right now. The deal is that, but still, driving a vehicle, unless it's dangerous driving, which is criminal, or stunt driving, which is under the Highway Traffic Act, nothing else applies. Now, if it's minor contact, it may not even be classified as a collision because it has to result in injury or damage. Okay. Questions about what's the toughest part of being a police officer? We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, Master Technician's got a question. Okay. Okay, scrolling back. What do we got here? Are bike lanes discretional? We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, I think I've checked off everything that's. Sorry, as I read along to catch up. I'm like, yeah. All right. Okay, we covered this one. So, are bike lanes? Oh, directional, not discretional. I misread it. Yeah, you can't go contraflow. So there are contraflow bike lanes, which means you're going in the opposite direction. But it's funny. I have video from my dash cam. I've been getting a lot of good dash cam video recently, and I have to publish some of it. But yeah, there was somebody driving at me in the bicycle lane. It's absolutely dangerous. It's absolutely illegal, unless it's a marked contraflow bike lane. And where do you see that? You see that on a one-way street, and on your left-hand side there'll be signs that say contraflow. It's important to have it signed for the safety of the cyclist. But they are directional, so don't go the wrong way on a bicycle lane. How come so many people get away with speeding on the 401? Well, so many people get away with speeding everywhere, and it's simply a numbers game. There are more drivers than there are police officers, and then the police officers have to catch the person in the act of speeding, and then once they're caught by way of measurement, then we stop them and pull them over. And as a procedure, it takes time. You have to, go and approach and discuss. And now that time, while they're talking to one person, many other people may be speeding. But it's like fishing. You don't go out and fish. You don't go fishing and catch all the fish. You catch them one at a time, usually, unless you're using a net. So maybe it's not as good an analogy as I thought it was. Yeah, anyway. Okay, but that would be why we can only do what we can do, and we will keep doing it. And it may be your day that you get caught, and maybe somebody else's turn. But at the end of the day, what we need is people to wise up and slow down. Okay, Tyler. This is the G2 and careless question. So Tyler says, I just got a careless driving ticket after a bad collision. There's no accidents, just collisions. With my G2, can I still drive? Were you suspended? Was there something else involved? Were you advised that you couldn't? If you get a ticket, it's an allegation. It is saying that we believe you did this thing, and as a result, we are calling you out. Where you have the choice of either paying it or choosing to dispute it. If you pay it, as a G2 driver, when you get any ticket that has 4 demerit points, you are looking at a 30-day suspension, but you'd be notified of that suspension. I believe it takes a while till you get that one. If it was in court, you can inquire to see if your suspension is active, and it'll usually cause something to be mailed out within 7 days. But here's the deal. If you are disputing it, taking it to court, saying that is not, you don't believe that you were being careless and you're fighting it, until you're convicted, there's no consequence. There's no change to your licensing status. So you're still a licensed driver. You don't have a suspension registered until you're convicted and notified. And that notification, if it doesn't, if they would send you something in mail, there's a period of time after which, even if you haven't received it, in the mail, you're still suspended. It's deemed to have been served, or deemed to have been notified. I think that's the verbiage. So at the moment, it would appear that you, barring any other information, can still drive. Okay, what is the fine difference between radar jammer and radar detector, or vice versa? What is the fine difference between radar detector and radar jammer? Absolutely no difference. It's $170, 2 demerit points, and we will search and seize the vehicle, at least the components in the vehicle. We can search the vehicle, we can seize the item. That makes it very interesting when it's wired up. So we got tools. We can rip it out for you. You may not like the way we take it out. It's much easier if you hand it over rather than putting us through the joy of disassembling your vehicle to get the stuff. But we can go in and get it. And just based on the belief that you have it, we can go in and get it. So it's one of those things. Radar jammers are fun. People think they're undetectable. They're not. They're much easier to detect than one would think. Radar detectors are the same thing. There are technological devices. Is that what we call it? There is technology that allows us to, they call it a radar detector. Do we need that? No, we're pretty astute. We're pretty good at making observations and determinations based on those observations. And it's not fun to have your car taken apart, which is why most people tend to just say, here you go. And they hand over the $1,000 or sometimes more expensive device and lose it because you're not allowed to own it, possess it, sell it, transport it, nothing, not allowed. So Moody wants to know what the toughest part of being a police officer is. It depends. Everyone's going to have a different answer for this. Some will say it's tough to write notes. It's tough to keep up with paperwork. It's tough to see people suffering. It's tough not being able to help everybody because we want to. It's tough not being able to protect everybody because we can't be everywhere at the same time. But it's going to be a different answer for everybody. It's frustrating for me to see people on the road who are choosing to speed and make the roads dangerous. And it's tough not to be able to respond to that because I'm not on the road anymore. It's tough when we go to a collision where people have died, when kids are hurt, or calls where someone's abusing somebody else. And even if we can help, even if we can, arrest or protect them in that moment, it's you want to do more. So it's tough because real world is tough. And we get to see that real world show a lot more. Most people go through life with rose-colored glasses, and we don't have those rose-colored glasses. We see the realities, the harsh realities, and it's not always easy. So I would say that the fact is knowing that the world is not what everyone else thinks it is probably the toughest part. Okay, Master Technician question, do police pull over semis, straight frames, and other commercial vehicles? Yes, we do. We pull over everything. If there's something that we don't have we get a hunch, something doesn't look right, we'll call our friends. We have a commercial motor vehicle inspection team. We will call one of them over if they're available. If they're not available, we'll call the MTO to come in. But we can lay charges. We can stop the vehicles. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Scrolling to see if there's some new. Oh, there's a whole bunch of new stuff. We have here, Dr. Nick. We got here. Okay. Dr. Nick says, you just said a highway is any road in Ontario, so parking lots are roads in Ontario, so doesn't that make them highways? No. A road, an actual road, an assumed road that is not private property, is a road. A paved space that is on private property is a private road, or a parking lot that people can drive on. But parking lots are not roads. A highway is it is a public space. It is a road that is assumed, and it is not owned by an individual person. It's owned by the government. It's maintained by the government. There can be private roads as well that the Highway Traffic Act would not apply on. So I think I've talked myself into a circle, but I think we've covered it. Let me know if it's not clear. Chase says, what does Chase say? If you got a speed on your radar that was 51 over the limit, but it was far away, would you charge for stunt or 51 over? Isn't there some tolerance if the driver versus speedo versus radar? Most people, most officers, will give a 2 kilometer thing. So if we, depending on what your reading is, if you thought there was a 2 kilometer an hour variance, that was your threshold, you would charge for 49 over. I wouldn't charge for 51 over unless I could, and if I was saying that it was 51 over and I believed 100% that it was 51 over, I would charge you for stunt and speeding. But if it was 51 over, I would probably charge you for 49 over because I'd give you a 2 kilometer benefit of the doubt. That's just me. I don't want to lose it in court. I want to have it absolutely dead to rights. And 52 over, I think at that point you're done. 51 over, we'll say we'll give you the 2 kilometers for me. But yeah, there's no real, like, if it says the number, it says the number. I'll go with the number. All right. Sons, I don't know how to pronounce your username. What's the legality of electric scooters in Ontario? If we're talking about e-kick scooters or e-scooters that look like scooters but are e-bikes, because there's a difference. If you go to trafficcop.ca, at the bottom there's links to explain the rules for e-kick scooters and for e-bikes. E-kick scooters are those stand-up jobbies. They have a skateboard deck style flat space between 2 wheels, and they have a handlebar set and a vertical, what is it called? Triple tree with a handlebar post. I guess that's what it is. So those are legal in Ontario if the jurisdiction that you're in permits them. So the City of Toronto does not allow them. Other jurisdictions do. That may change, though, because we've had a couple of serious collisions relating those. A couple of people, I think, have died in relation to their use, so that you might find that they won't be as popular in some areas as they once were. But the deal is that they cannot be capable of going more than 24 kilometers an hour on a flat surface. They have to have a motor no more powerful than 500 watts. And you must be 16 years of age to operate one. You must wear a helmet until you're 18 for those. 24 kilometers an hour and 500 watts is the big thing. Can't have seats. If you have a seat attached, it's a motorcycle. If you were talking about the e-bike version of a scooterish looking thing that is an e-bike, well, then they are maxed at 32 kilometers an hour, must have functioning pedals. You must wear a helmet at all times. And again, a maximum power rating for the motor of 500 watts. Now, people say, well, if I have this limiter on, or it came from the factory with a limiter that doesn't allow it to go more than 32 kilometers an hour, but it's got a 1,000-watt motor, guess what? That's a motorcycle. It has to meet all of the requirements. So I hope that answers your question. If you need more, ask more. If a passenger opens alcohol in a car, who gets in trouble? Everybody gets in trouble. Driver's responsible. The tickets would be likely late for both. So this is why you don't want to put your taxis and limo drivers in a spot. I mean, most people don't care about the taxi driver, but as a taxi driver, I would hope you'd pull over and say, get out of my taxi. Yeah, it's not legal for anyone. And charges can be laid for the driver, and charges can be laid, I believe, for the individual as well. Tim's coming late to the party, but good morning to you. And thank you for reminding me of the time, because it is just after 10:30, which means I get to tell you who I am again. And wait, that message came up too soon. Here we go. So my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day. Sometimes more than once. Actually, all day. Even when I'm at home alone, I'm talking about it, thinking about it. Traffic safety is a big deal. And I certainly think about it while I'm driving around in my personal vehicle. If that sounds like you, maybe you should be a police officer. And we are hiring police officers. I think you should go over to tps.ca/careers, and you'll be greeted by this site. And here, one career, many opportunities. Hey, it's a slogan. You can get information about becoming a police officer, special constable, parking enforcement officer, communications operator, along with civilian roles. What is a civilian role? Well, that is a position that has no uniform attached to it, generally speaking. You can work in our clerk records release section, agreement specialist for legal services, intermediate programmer. My pronunciation is going funny. We've got senior advisor in strategic analysis and governance, Senior Analyst, Azure Integration Platforms. Now, why am I reading only 5? And last week, if you were watching, there was 8 or 10 or maybe even 12, because these postings come and go. If you don't post or if you don't apply for the job while the posting is up, well, you've lost the opportunity for this round. And someone will be hired from the group that applied then, and it won't be you if you didn't apply. See how that works? You don't ask, you don't get. If you're interested in working for us in any capacity, check the site. And of course, we're always looking for police officers, but there are very specialist opportunities in other areas, and serving your community doesn't necessarily require a uniform. If you are supporting us in the back end as a programmer analyst, well, that's an important job and we need you. So if you have those skills, consider joining an amazing team. We are a great place to work. And I'm totally biased when I say that. But I believe it. So what does that mean? I'm biased and I believe it? I don't know. Zombie says, so can you get charged for not following road signs in big parking lots? Example, Walmart here has 2 stop signs in their parking lot. No, you can't get charged for it. It's not a road. Parking lots are parking lots, roads are roads. The rules. In fact, I can't even charge you for not having a driver's license on private property. I can't charge you for not having insurance on private property. But if you're driving and treating that private property like a racetrack, and you're sliding around and doing burnouts, that's stunt driving, and I can charge you for that. Okay, I'm a fun guy. I love it when the username is a dad joke. Are cops allowed to walk into traffic to stop you? No car, 90 kilometers an hour, paid duty job. Yes, we can. Would we go out into a 90 kilometer an hour zone to do traffic stops? That's a high risk situation. I would think that's less safe. But is it against the rules or against the law? It's higher risk. But where is there a 90 kilometer zone where? Yeah, I'm trying to visualize myself in this scenario. So, in a 90 kilometer an hour zone, that is an expressway in the city of Toronto. We're not walking into traffic for that. We're not doing radar with it's standing at the side of the road. So I don't think, although it wouldn't be against the rules, I don't think that's a reality. I don't think that's happening. Where I am, I've stopped people who were doing over 100 kilometers an hour in a 60 zone by stepping out into traffic. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility, but in a 90 zone, we're probably not doing that kind of enforcement. We're going to be in a car. Cool. Chase has a question about remote control care. If you are using a remote control care while impaired, aren't you in carrying control of a motor vehicle? No. If you're talking about a remote control car, like a toy car, one about that big, no. You could probably get charged for a bunch of other things, maybe, possibly, but not motor vehicle. It doesn't qualify as a motor vehicle. But now you've opened up a whole new area of maybe we can go start staking out those RC car clubs. How many years? Oh, here. This is a more Chase part 2. How many years would you estimate it takes a police officer from the time they apply to the time they are doing traffic enforcement daily? So I don't know. See, if you are lucky enough to come to traffic services, it could certainly be more of your daily deal. But when you become a police officer, once you're a sworn officer, you're out there. When you have downtime in between your calls, you can go and do traffic enforcement as much as you like, as long as you've got the time. And the problem is that many divisions are very busy and they have lots of calls impending, and they never seem to have that time. Well, we try and give officers time to do enforcement because it's important. Okay. Kyle Hawking, how you doing? We have a question that says, morning, Sean. If a vehicle waiting to make a left turn at a red light jumps in front of opposing cars when the light turns green, is there a charge for that? Okay, so in your scenario, because I misread it or misinterpreted it the first time I read it, if you're talking about all vehicles are behind the stop line and a vehicle waiting to make a left turn just before or just after the light turns green, hits the gas and makes a left turn, it's called a jackrabbit start. It is stunt driving. They would be eligible for everything that doing 150 kilometers an hour anywhere would get, right? Stunt driving. So they're going to lose their license for 30 days. They're going to lose their vehicle for 14. They would be charged for an offense that carries a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail on the first conviction. It's a serious charge. And it's very specifically outlined as an event under stunt driving. In fact, I have a video that describes exactly this, and I have video to support it. There was a dash cam that I was commenting on. So I think I have your email address, but I can send you a link to it. Otherwise, DM me and I can send it to you. Chase, how dare you get rid of vanilla cake but keep lemon on X? Well, that wasn't for me. I'm assuming that was for Akela Jaconis. By the way, Akela, you got to come join the Telegram chat. If you go to telegram.trafficcop.ca, that'll get you to the Telegram chat, and from there you can join the group. We're playing around with it, but it's a small group right now. It's mostly Chase and Michael and myself. But anyone who's interested in coming to be part of that conversation, which kind of carries on all the time, jump in. Telegram. Try that again. Telegram.trafficcop.ca. Okay. Radek says, good morning. Good morning. Does Toronto Police conduct roadside speed enforcement at night? Yes. We do speed enforcement all the time. Different times, different officers, but we're always doing speed enforcement because it's always important. What is this? Oh, wrong one. Here we go. In order to qualify and get plates, you have to have valid insurance. So do your plates get pulled along with a no insurance ticket? No. So a charge of no insurance means that you can't drive, right? We'll direct you and you can't drive. You have to figure out either arranging for insurance or a tow. We don't take your vehicle or your plates at that point. But maybe we should. I'd like to see that. If we would impound for other things, we should impound for that. But that's my opinion. What is this? A question from Mike Yestel. Did I pronounce that right? Can a police officer pull over a driver outside of their region? For instance, example, OPP in Peel Region. Yes. We can, as police officers, we can always pull you over. There's no issue there. In terms of laying a charge, we want to make sure that we lay a charge to a courthouse that is reasonable for you to attend. And that means that if I'm going to write a ticket to you, our tickets are going to take you to our local courthouse. Or it used to be that we would have many different courthouses. Now they're centralizing a lot of the stuff, and I'm not sure where we're sending people. Because I used to send people to Old City Hall. Anyway, long story short is if we are more than one jurisdiction in between, we will have another police officer write the ticket, and we will become witnesses. But we still have the authority to stop you. OPP runs through almost everywhere, so they have a different situation. But certainly, Peel can ticket people on the highway. I can ticket people on the highway as a Toronto officer. Absolutely. Akela is going to look in the Telegram. Cool. Here's a question from Dag Maui. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Can I have a radar detector in my car which only tells if a speed radar is nearby? That is what a radar detector is. And no, you cannot. It's prohibited in the province of Ontario. You cannot transport them. You cannot buy them, sell them, use them. You can't have any. You cannot have one. The charge is $170. It comes with 3 demerit points. And we have search and seizure authority. So we can search if we think you have one. Once we find that item, we are going to seize it. It will no longer be for you. It'll be destroyed at some point. But yeah, you cannot have them in Ontario. I don't think they should be legal anywhere. I don't think that's a product that should be available for sale anywhere on the planet, because the reason they exist is to help you avoid getting caught, which allows you to continue doing things you're not supposed to do, which is speeding. It's illegal. And if you temporarily change your opinion or your behavior temporarily to avoid getting caught, and then you move on and kill someone because of your choices, and I mean that in a speed way, not because you pulled out a edged weapon, you're just delaying the change of behavior that is necessary. So we need to catch people who are using radar detectors, or choosing to speed, I should say, and we need to charge them, and we need to have them lose their licenses or increase their insurance rates or have some consequence to motivate them to do the right thing, because speeders are doing very much the wrong thing, and those pieces of equipment are there to help enable them to do the wrong thing longer. Zombie says, don't apps like Waze technically count as radar detection? No, they don't, because you don't know what the function is of the person who's there. So it's a social media, it's a social networking app for GPS that reports things like traffic and the presence of police. Well, just because the police are there doesn't mean they're conducting speed enforcement. It does, in a way, do the same thing. If you see police are there, you might change your behavior, but it doesn't qualify as radar detection. And I've always thought myself, pretty special when I was the officer that was identified as the person standing at that street corner. But I totally get why people would associate the two, but it's not the same. If you're from out of the country and your plates get stolen here, how would you get back home? Is there a temporary solution? I'm guessing the New York DMV doesn't mail plates internationally. It's a very good question. I don't know the answer to. I imagine that with a police report in hand, that you'd be finding some way. There must be a way. I just don't have an answer for you. But it is a good question. I'm on sidewalk. What charges for accelerating through yellow signals? Just witnessed that action. Michael is the eye in eye on the street. You're our local news correspondent from the sidewalk. The deal is if you accelerate to get through a yellow signal, you have failed to stop for a yellow signal. And I'll read it because so many people are confused about this. I don't know why it's confusing, but it is apparently confusing. I have this conversation all the time. Okay, going to the HTA. Here we go. Is it amber or yellow? Must be under yellow. Fail to stop. That's not. I typed Dale. What is going on with the weird issues with the keyboard? Fail, not Dale, to stop. Equipment rolls the road. Amber light. Failed to stop. So it is firstly a $180 fine, 3 demerit points. Every driver approaching a traffic control signal showing a circular amber indication and facing the indication shall stop his or her vehicle if he or she can do so safely. Otherwise, he or she may proceed with caution. Well, that is somewhat ambiguous, isn't it? It means that if you are capable of stopping your vehicle, you must stop your vehicle. If it's not something if you're accelerating, means you could have stopped but didn't. That's what it means. At least that's how my evidence is going to roll. And then when I lay the charge. Okay. For the record, I'm not driving on the sidewalk. I am glad that you clarified that. Thank you. Okay, we got a Kayla. We got comments here. We got comments here. If you're watching and want to know where all these questions are coming from, they're coming from people like you. They're people from folks who are contributing to the show, and you can do the same thing by asking questions online. And if you're watching on TikTok, JD is taking your questions and putting them over. And if you are on YouTube or any of the other platforms, you are likely getting your questions taken care of by yourself. Okay. Jay Kier is coming through Instagram. One day we're going to get you on a different platform. Saw your video of insane driver cutting around tractor trailer. Was there anything you could do? I wish I could. The question or the video being referenced, I will put up on screen right now because many people may not have seen this. I think this is it. This video should really shock you. This is footage filmed in my vehicle. This is my dash camera. And what you're seeing is an aggressive driver. They're following too close, and that isn't shocking on its own. It's not legal, but it's not shocking. It's the maneuver they're about to do. This is the aggressive lane change to the right, the immediate cutting off of the vehicle on its left, and then when it gets better, it's the thread the needle between 18-wheelers. Yeah, that's the video. Now, was I able to lay charges? I really hoped I was going to be able to. So first off, you have to know that when I was driving, I was off duty in my personal vehicle with my family on board. I didn't even see a license plate because it didn't really, I saw the tailgating, but it's peripheral vision. I saw them make the lane change over, and it wasn't until they made that dash across the 3 lanes and then cut between the space, again, was a holy cow moment, but I didn't have a license plate. So when I got safely stopped, I downloaded the video. I had a license plate well beyond the ability to call them in and have a reasonable chance of catching them. And then I reviewed the rear camera as well because they did pull up aside, and I was really disappointed to find out that I couldn't identify the driver. I couldn't get a clear image because of glare on the windshield, because I have a full frame picture of that vehicle, and you can't make out anything inside the vehicle, which is thoroughly disappointing, because had I been able to, I would lay charges, and I would be charging them for dangerous driving, which is a criminal offense in the province of Ontario. Very, very disappointed. I like to win. And that was not a win. Okay. We got a bunch of questions who came in. Robbie Bobby has a question. What is the speed limit on a mobility scooter? Is a question that just came in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, another question from Zombie. All right. I'm flagging a bunch of stuff in because we're leading up. We got 8 minutes left of the show. Oh, cool. Okay, Kayla's got some stuff he's sharing with me. Okay. First question before we move into 9 more questions is, what authority does Bell have to put a cone on the road and make everyone go around them? What is the reason for the cone? Is it just a cone for the sake of putting a cone on the road? If it's a hazard, they're marking a hazard. So does everyone have an authority to mark a hazard? I don't know. If they're parking their vehicle there, they have this weird policy. A lot of the companies like Rogers and so on, their technicians have a policy to put cones out. Do they have authority to put cones out? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you need authority to put a cone out as long as you're doing it for the right reasons. Okay. Let's see what the next one is. But it's a very good, I really don't know. Authority for cone authority. Maybe we'll make a t-shirt. Cone authority. That's good. Okay. I don't know. Traffic cops find strange things humorous, apparently. Kayla says, I could help you set up your Waze feed so all police locations would be updated from the data you share on your website. Cops everywhere. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, we'll talk about this. I like this idea. How many questions? What is this? Chase, who always has lots of questions, and I thank you for them because you're a contributor. You make the show better by being here. But he says that basically it was a long weekend. That's why he has so many questions. All right, here's Robbie Bobby's question of, is it sure best way to beat a traffic ticket? I guess true. It's a typo. Is it true best way to beat a traffic ticket is not to get one and be a good driver? It is absolutely the best advice. The easiest way to avoid a ticket is simply by being a good driver, and a courteous one. It is so easy to be nice to people. I think we forget that. We think we're in a rush to get somewhere 5 seconds faster than the next person. True story. While I was driving to or from work a couple of days ago, which would be last week, I came up to a bus. Buses happen, and the bus was in the lane to my right. It was in a bus lane, and we were both at the stop line. Now, yielding for a bus is when you're behind the bus, right? When the light turned, I let him go, and his face, the driver, turned to me and was like, "Really?" Like, thank you. And then even to the point of sticking his arm out the window to wave and thank me afterwards. So yeah, you can be good, you can be kind, you can help people out. And little things like this, they have this amazing ability to make people's days brighter. And when you do that, it carries on, because that person, that bus driver, was probably in a great mood for the rest of the day, or at least for the next 5 minutes until somebody aggravated them, but whatever. The question the Flat Earth channel wants to know is, what is the speed limit on a mobility scooter? I don't know. I don't know offhand. I think the majority of them are maxed out at 8 kilometers an hour. That's a guess. I have some experience with mobility scooters, and I believe that they're 8 kilometers, but I don't know if they're legislated or if it just seems to be what they are. And we're talking about a true mobility scooter and not something that someone built and it does 40K an hour and they say is a mobility scooter. I mean, people hack things all the time. Zombie asks, What if you're at a red light and the car is coming up behind you fast, likely to crash? So you proceed safely into the intersection. Would you get charged for running a red light? Yeah. No. Proceed before green. If you already stopped, the charge would be proceed before green. If they were, there's so many what ifs. If you did that to avoid a collision, would you be faulted if nothing happened because you did it but you avoided a collision? Probably not. If you did it and it caused a multiple car pileup, would you be charged? Yeah, you would. There's never an excuse. You're always going to be responsible for everything you do in your vehicle. So if you do that and everything works out great, chances are you're okay, and the observations made by an officer would be that you did the right thing. But was it illegal to go through the intersection? Technically, yes. But I like the question. I like questions that go down a rabbit hole of what ifs, because it depends. Can you make a left turn on a red light at an intersection of two one-way streets? So yes, Nathan, if you are on a one-way street approaching another one-way street, if it's safe to do so and not prohibited by a sign, then you can make a one-way, you can make a left turn on a red light to another one-way street. It's very unique. It's very odd. It's very rare. How many ways can I say the same thing? It doesn't happen very often. That is an occurrence, but it is possible that's what would happen. The best thing here is, we talk about safety and safety for pedestrians and safety for motorists in general. And the deal is, that's the focus. Whether you can or can't do something. Like, so many people make right turns on reds where it's absolutely unsafe. They either don't stop or they don't yield to the pedestrian traffic. There's a lot of confusion where there shouldn't be any confusion. Okay. The Flat Earth follows up on their question about mobility scooters. Can I drive 60 kilometers an hour on a mobility scooter? I'm going to say no, because that's clearly a motor vehicle. But I don't have a section of code that says mobility scooter. Like, when does it get classified as a mobility scooter? If it's a wheelchair, it's a wheelchair. If it's a mobility scooter designed and constructed as one, it's going to get that benefit. But when you take a device that is meant to facilitate, those who need assistance getting around, and turn it into a motor vehicle, it's a motor vehicle. A sticker that saying mobility scooter doesn't bypass the law. Chase wants to know if you can tint windows on a mobility scooter. Okay. Laser is getting so common. Okay, good point. So Chase says laser is getting so common that any type of detector is useless as they already have your speed locked in. Yes, so even radar detector, we don't leave radar, you have momentary, we don't use handheld. And I've got a couple of, can't reach it. All right. This is an old school radar gun. I mean old school. We do not use this anymore. This is, how can I show you this? Like, this will tell you a speed. But you have to understand the technology. This is not a laser focused device identifying a specific vehicle's speed. It requires skill to use, because you need to be able to identify with your own observations what speed you're measuring. So anything handheld is going to be laser now. And that means we're going to put a crosshair on your vehicle, and we know exactly what we're pointing at. And it's accurate. And yes, a device like a laser detector or an additional sensor is kind of baloney, because, yeah, it might read it, it might not, and we've already got you. So, yeah, momentary depression of the trigger causes it to emit a laser signal, and then it stops when we let go. So it's pretty useless, as Chase says. When it comes to moving radar, okay, maybe you'd be getting a little heads up on the fact that it's being used, but is it really that beneficial? No. Okay. Oh, dad joke time. It is. It really is. It's 11 o'clock. It's dad joke time. Is a zip tie on a motorcycle license illegal? You mean to hold your motorcycle license plate to your vehicle? No, it's not illegal to zip tie your plates. They have to be. They can't flip or flop. Like, it has to be secured. If it's flapping around, that's a problem. Akela says, should have brought our radar gun to the Indy. And as Chase says, we did do that last year, and we had hoped to do that again. But the officer who was going to bring one called in sick, and they were really disappointed. They really wanted it because I got some great photos of. If you go through my Instagram, I think I have it posted on mine as to what the speed was caught on the track. Okay. Oh, Antigua 1999 says, are police at construction sites paid by the city or the construction company? They are paid. They're paid by the company, whether it be the building company, the construction company, the security, something in relation to that event. The city's not paying for that. Now, some would argue that if they're building something for the city, then or the construction company is billing that back, so isn't it the city paying for it? It's the company that's paying for it. However their accounting works, it's still the company that's technically paying for it. So that is, very often police officers are hired even when they're not required because the security guards that are doing the job aren't having the same effect or they don't feel safe. So police officers who have the authority to stop vehicles and control traffic in that area are used, and it makes their lives a lot easier. So it is something called a paid duty, and that's because it's being paid by another company, and they pay the service in addition to paying the officer. So there's a fee that the service is paid. Let's see here. Oh, what are the rules at a racetrack? Do you need a license and insurance? Racing, I think, requires a racing license. Like they have to qualify you to get you on the track. To do certain things. And I'm not a race car driver. I don't do this myself, but my understanding is to race in a qualified event with other vehicles, you need to have be qualified, but it's not a driver's license they're looking for. In terms of insurance, I don't think any insurance will cover you on a racetrack, so no insurance is required. But obviously, if you're driving it to the track, you need insurance for that purpose. But no insurance is going to cover you on the track. Yes. Okay. We got the that joke flag. We got that. Question about headlights. And we're wrapping up in a couple minutes, so we're just getting last questions in here. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it would have been cool to know how fast we were going in the C8. But I don't think we were going that fast. We were certainly going quick. So first question here is from Maria, who wants to know if you're able to lightly tint your headlights. Actually, it's absolutely prohibited. You cannot tint your headlight at all. Can't put anything on there. Good question, though. Scrolling just to see if there's anything going on here on... Oh, and by the way, just a shout out to Tracy. I see you there. I don't know if Emma's also here, but a shout out to Emma as well. Let me scroll back. Do I see an Emma? I don't know. But if you're here, hello, and thank you. Emma and Tracy are religiously in the chat helping out, and I really appreciate you. They know stuff and things because they've been here for a long time, and they listen and they repeat. And some people don't like getting the answers from them, but they know a lot of stuff through osmosis. And because they know stuff anyway. All right, we'll move into dad jokes. So first off, dad joke. My doctor told me last month that I'm going deaf. I haven't heard from him since. I would say groaner, but I actually enjoyed that. It was funny. What do we got here? I've got some calendar stuff. Oh, no, this is Monday's joke. I've been hit by the same bike 3 times in a week. It's a vicious cycle. I like that one. Today's joke, the joke for August 8th. What did the ground say to the earthquake? You crack me up. And that's it. That is the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Is this a radio week? I think last week was a radio week. I think this week is no radio. So that means that we'll be a 10 o'clock show tomorrow, unless I hear otherwise from radio land. And if that happens, I'll let you know. Because I tweet this stuff. I actually schedule the posts, and most platforms will announce, and I will announce on Twitter every day what the next day is going to do. But assume that 10 a.m. I will be here doing what I do every day, which is answering your traffic and police questions. In the meantime, please enjoy the traffic song. And then I might be here for a second afterwards, or I may not. We'll leave it to surprise you.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Yeah, I'm still here. Somebody wants to know if I arrested, or you guys arrest Drake. I don't get the joke. Drake is a male duck, right? That's what you're talking about? Oh, the musician. No, I have no idea. Does he drive? Everything I've ever seen is him being driven by a driver. He owns a Bugatti? No kidding. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we did. I haven't heard anything interesting. But on that note, have a great day. Drive safe, drive sober, drive legally, park legally. Don't do anything illegal. Don't drive e-kicks. There's a long list of don'ts and do's. It's called the Highway Traffic Act. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. Have a great day.